Being lonely alone is better than being miserable together. You ever heard that before? Here's what nobody talks about when you hit a 65. The stuff that actually matters? It's not what you think. It's quieter, simpler. And if you still have these things, you're not just getting by. You're winning at life. Now listen up, because I'm about to share something with you. The thumbnail says 5 things, right? But I'm actually giving you more than that. So pay attention as we go through this. Count them off. Make sure you're tracking each one, because by the end, you'll know exactly where you stand. And trust me, if you have even 3 of these, you're doing better than most people your age. Go ahead and hit that like button, drop a comment with your age, and let's get into it. Number 1, a place with your name on it. If you're between 65 and 80, and you've got a home, big or small, paid off or not, with your name on that deed, you've done something most people only dream about. Let me tell you about Dorothy. She's 71, lives in Phoenix. Most of her life she rented, moved around every few years, always somebody else's property, always somebody else's rules. At 68, she finally bought a small condo. Nothing fancy, not big, but it was hers. She told me something I'll never forget. She said, "I don't have to ask permission to hang a picture anymore. I don't have to worry about somebody telling me to leave. This is mine." That's not just real estate, that's dignity. Here's what most people don't want to hear. After 65, having your own place isn't about making money. It's about survival. Landlords don't want senior tenants. They worry about health problems. They worry about liability. They worry about what happens if you pass away in the unit. It's messed up, but it's real. If you're still moving at 70, at 75, at 80, your options disappear fast. Rent keeps going up. Choices keep going down. But if you have a home with your name on it, you've got something nobody can take away. You've got a door you can close, a bed that's yours, a roof that won't disappear. Doesn't matter if it's a small apartment, a mobile home, a house in the suburbs. If your name is on that deed, you've secured something you can't put a price on. Stability. Your kids know you're safe. Your mind is at peace. You're not one rent increase away from disaster. Dorothy told me something else. She said, "When I wake up now, I look at these walls and think, oh, this is mine. Nobody can make me leave. That feeling is worth more than any vacation I never took." If you have a place with your name on it, you're doing life right. Number 2, legs that still carry you. If you can still walk to the mailbox, climb a few stairs, stand up without help, you're in a smaller group than you think. Let me tell you about Robert. He's 68, lives in Seattle. 3 years ago, he slipped on some ice, broke his hip, spent months in rehab, lost his muscle, lost his confidence, lost his independence. He told me, "I used to walk 3 miles every single day. Now I need a walker just to get to the bathroom. I didn't know how much my legs meant until they stopped working." Your legs aren't just body parts. They're freedom. When your legs work, you can go to the store by yourself, visit a friend, and walk through your house without being scared. Get up from a chair without using your hands. Stand while you're cooking. Move without asking anybody for help. The second your legs give out, everything changes. You need help. You need rides. You need people to be patient with you. Your whole world shrinks down to the space between your bed and your chair. Studies show that after 65, you lose muscle fast. If you don't use your legs, they quit on you. Sitting becomes dangerous. Weakness becomes permanent. But if you're still walking, still moving, still standing on your own 2 feet, you've got something millions of people your age have already lost. Helen lives in Portland. She's 74. She walks every single morning, not far, just around her block. 20 minutes. She told me, "My knees hurt. My back's not perfect, but I can still move. And as long as I can, I will." And here's something amazing. There are people pushing 80 who still climb 2 flights of stairs every single day, still working, still active, still blessed with the ability to move. That's not luck. That's using what you have while you still have it. Your legs are the foundation of everything else. If they work, protect them. Use them. Walk every day, even if it's just to the corner and back. Because the day your legs stop working is the day your independence ends. If you can still walk on your own, you're doing life right. Number 3, one friend you can actually talk to. Not 10 friends, not 5, just one. One person you can call when something's on your mind. One person who actually picks up. One person who knows your story and still wants to hear more. If you have that, you're richer than most people realize. Margaret lives in Denver. She's 72. She has one friend she's known for 40 years. They meet every Thursday for coffee, same cafe, same table. She told me, we don't even talk about anything important. We just talk. And somehow that's everything. Here's what happens as you get older. Friends disappear, some move away, some get sick, some pass away, some just stop calling. And before you know it, you're sitting alone. Studies show that loneliness after 65 is as dangerous as smoking 15 cigarettes a day. It increases your risk of heart disease, dementia, early death. But it's not about having a full contact list. It's about having one real connection. One friend who remembers your birthday, one friend who asks how you're really doing, one friend who doesn't just talk, who listens. If Frank lives in Boston, he's 76. His best friend lives 3 states away. They don't see each other much, but they talk every Sunday, same time. Been doing it for 30 years. He said, I don't need a lot of friends, I just need him. And that's enough. If you have one person in your life who truly knows you, who cares about you, who shows up even when it's not easy, you have something most people spend their whole lives searching for. And if you don't have that yet, it's not too late. One coffee, one phone call, one honest conversation with somebody. That's all it takes to start. If you have one true friend, you're doing life right. Number 4, children who still call, not children who need money, not children who only show up on holidays, children who actually want to hear your voice. If your kids call you just to talk, just to check in, just to say hello, you've done something right as a parent. Let me tell you about Barbara. She's 69, lives in Atlanta. She has 3 children. 2 of them call her every week. One of them calls her every single day. She said, I don't need them to visit all the time. I don't need gifts. I just need to know they still think about me. That's the real measure of a good relationship with your kids. Not how much they give you, but whether they still want you in their life. Here's the painful truth. A lot of parents at 65, 70, 75 barely hear from their kids. The phone doesn't ring, the visits stop, the relationship becomes all about transactions, and it's not always the kid's fault. Sometimes it's years of tension that never got fixed. Sometimes it's misunderstandings that nobody ever addressed. Sometimes it's just distance, emotional or physical. But if your children still call you, still want to talk to you, still invite you into their lives, you've built something strong. You raised them in a way that made them want to stay close. You treated them with respect even after they became adults. You didn't try to control them. You didn't make them feel guilty. You let them live their own lives while still being part of yours. William lives in Denver. He's 73. His daughter calls him 3 times a week. She doesn't need anything. She just wants to talk. He told me, I never thought this would matter so much, but now that I'm older, her voice is the best part of my week. If your children still call you, not because they have to, but because they want to, you're doing life right. Number 5, enough money to live without begging, not wealth, not luxury, just enough. Enough to pay your bills, enough to buy groceries, enough to cover your medicine, enough that you're not depending on your children just to survive. If you have that, you have dignity. Charles lives in Philadelphia. He's 70. He worked as a mechanic his whole life, never made much. But he saved a little. Now he gets Social Security. It's not a lot, but it's enough. He said, I don't need fancy things. I just need to know I can take care of myself. That's the difference between peace and panic. When you have basic financial security, you're not asking your kids for help every month. You're not choosing between food and medicine. You're not lying awake at night wondering how you'll pay rent. Here's the harsh reality. Many seniors live in poverty. They work their whole lives, but they have nothing left. They depend on their children who are struggling themselves. They live with constant stress, constant worry, constant shame. But if you planned ahead, if you saved even a little, if you have a pension or Social Security or some income that covers the basics, you've protected yourself. You're not rich, but you're free. Dorothy in Phoenix told me, I don't have extra money, but I have enough, and that's all I ever wanted. If you can pay your own way, you're doing life right. Now let me ask you something. How many of those 5 things do you have? If you have all 5, you're not just doing well, you're crushing it. If you have 3 or 4, you're still ahead of most people your age. But here's the thing, I promised you more than 5, and I'm keeping that promise. Because there are 2 more things that truly separate the people who are just surviving from the people who are actually living. These next 2? They're harder to see, but they matter more than almost anything else. Number 6, a mind free from resentment. Can you go to sleep at night without replaying old arguments in your head? Without hating someone from your past? Without bitterness eating away at you? If you can, you're free. Resentment is like drinking poison and waiting for the other person to die. It doesn't hurt them. It only hurts you. Let me tell you about Thomas. He's 72, lives in Chicago. For 20 years, he hated his brother. They had a fight over their father's will, money, property, things that seemed important at the time. They stopped talking. Holidays became awkward. Family gatherings were tense. Thomas would lie in bed at night replaying the argument, thinking of things he should have said. His wife told him, "You're angrier at your brother than he is at you. He's moved on. You're still stuck." And she was right. One day, Thomas went to the doctor. High blood pressure, stress. His doctor asked him, "What's eating at you?" Thomas told him about his brother. The doctor said something that changed everything. "You're the only one paying the price for this anger. Not him. You." That night, Thomas called his brother, not to apologize, not to argue, just to talk. His brother answered. They didn't fix everything, but they talked. And slowly over months, the resentment started to fade. Thomas told me, "I didn't forgive him because he deserved it. I forgave him because I needed to breathe again." Here's the truth about resentment. As you get older, it gets heavier. When you're young, you can carry grudges and keep moving. But at 65, 70, 75, that weight becomes unbearable. It affects your health, your sleep, your relationships with everyone else. Studies show that chronic anger and resentment increase your risk of heart disease by 19%. They raise your stress hormones. They weaken your immune system. They steal years from your life. But here's the beautiful part. Letting go doesn't require the other person to change. It doesn't require an apology. It doesn't even require contact. It just requires you deciding, I'm done carrying this. Barbara in Atlanta told me about her sister. They hadn't spoken in 15 years over something so small, Barbara couldn't even remember what started it. One day, Barbara just stopped thinking about it. She didn't call her sister. She didn't send a letter. She just decided this doesn't matter anymore. And the moment she let it go, she felt lighter. She said, I don't need her to apologize. I don't need closure. I just needed to stop letting her live rent-free in my head. That's freedom. Now, I'm not saying you have to be friends with people who hurt you. I'm not saying you have to let toxic people back into your life. But you do have to release the grip they have on your mind. Because every minute you spend hating someone is a minute you're not spending living. Think about this. Who are you still angry at? Who are you still blaming? Whose name makes your chest tighten? That person might not even remember what happened. They might be living their life completely unbothered while you're still suffering. Is it worth it? Helen in Portland told me, "Man, I used to hate my ex-husband. For years. Every time I thought about him, I got angry. Then one day I realized I was the only one still suffering. So I let it go. Not for him, for me." She didn't call him. She didn't reconcile. She just stopped giving him space in her heart. And now when she thinks about him, she feels nothing. No anger, no bitterness, just peace. That's what freedom from resentment looks like. If you can go to bed at night without carrying grudges, without replaying old fights, without wishing harm on anyone, you've achieved something most people never do. You've chosen peace over being right. And that choice, at your age, is the difference between living with joy and living with poison. If you can sleep without resentment, you're doing life right. Number 7, a reason to get up, not just waking up, but having something to wake up for. Maybe it's your garden. Maybe it's your grandkids. Maybe it's a hobby, a project, a routine that gives your day structure. If you still have something that makes you want to get out of bed, you're alive in the truest sense. Let me tell you about Dorothy again. She's 68, lives in Phoenix. When her husband passed 3 years ago, she lost her reason to get up. They used to have breakfast together, go for walks, watch the news. It was routine, but it was theirs. After he died, mornings became empty. She'd wake up and think, why bother? She told me, I'd lie there for hours, not because I was tired, because I had nothing to get up for. Her daughter noticed. She bought Dorothy a bird feeder and said, put this outside your window, just try it. Dorothy did. The next morning, a cardinal showed up, then a blue jay, then sparrows. Dorothy started waking up to check on them. She'd make coffee, sit by the window, watch the birds. It wasn't much, but it was something. She told me, those birds gave me a reason, and once I had that, I started finding other reasons too. Here's the truth about life after 65. Purpose doesn't just disappear, but it changes. When you're younger, your purpose is obvious. You work, you raise your kids, you build your life. But after retirement, after your children are grown, after your spouse is gone, suddenly there's a void, and many people fall into it. Studies show that people who retire without a sense of purpose are 40% more likely to experience depression. They're at higher risk for mental decline. They lose their routine, their identity, their drive. But the people who thrive after 65 are the ones who find new reasons to get up. It doesn't have to be big. It doesn't have to change the world. It just has to matter to you. Robert in Seattle is 76. He feeds the birds every morning at 7 a.m. Not much, but it's his. He said, if I don't feed them, who will? They're counting on me, so I get up. Margaret in Denver is 74. She volunteers at the library once a week. She reads to kids. She told me, those kids don't know it, but they keep me going. I look forward to Tuesday all week long. Charles in Philadelphia is 70. He walks to the corner store every morning for coffee. Same time, same route, same guy behind the counter. He said, it's not the coffee, it's the walk, it's the routine, it's knowing I still have somewhere to be. That's purpose. It's not about achieving something huge. It's about having a rhythm that pulls you out of bed. Now here's what happens when you lose that. William in Denver told me about his father. After he retired, his father stopped doing anything. No hobbies, no friends, no routine. He'd sleep until noon, watch TV all day, go to bed, repeat. William said, within 2 years, he aged 10 years. His mind got foggy. His body got weak. He gave up. His father died at 73. Not from disease, from lack of purpose. The doctors called it heart failure. But William knew the truth. His father's heart failed because it had nothing left to beat for. That's the danger of losing your reason to get up. Your body follows your mind. When you stop caring, your body stops trying. But here's the good news. Purpose can be found at any age. You don't need a grand mission. Like you don't need to start a business or save the world. You just need one thing that makes you think, today matters. Maybe it's watering your plants. Maybe it's calling a friend. Maybe it's working on a puzzle. Maybe it's cooking your favorite meal. Maybe it's watching a show you enjoy, taking a walk, sitting outside with your coffee. It doesn't matter what it is. It only matters that it's yours. Barbara in Atlanta is 69. She writes letters, old-fashioned letters, to her grandkids, to old friends, to people she hasn't seen in years. She told me, I don't know if they read them, but I write them anyway. It gives me something to do, and I like imagining them smiling when they get them. That's enough. Helen in Portland is 74. She bakes bread every Sunday. She doesn't even eat most of it. She gives it away to neighbors. She said, oh, it's not about the bread. It's about the process, the kneading, the smell, the routine. It reminds me I'm still here. That's purpose. If you wake up every morning with something to look forward to, even if it's small, you're living. If you wake up and think, I matter, today matters, I have something to do, you're winning. Because the moment you lose your reason to get up is the moment you start dying. But as long as you have something, anything, that makes you want to open your eyes, you're alive. And that's the most important thing of all. If you have a reason to get up, you're doing life right. So let me ask you again, how many of these 7 things do you have? If you counted 5 on the thumbnail and thought that was it, surprise. You got 7, because that's what life is. More than you expected if you're paying attention. And here's the real question. At your age, what's your biggest problem? For some people, the biggest problem is waiting for videos to get to the point. No fluff, no filler, just the truth. And if that's your biggest complaint, you're doing better than you think. Because if you can still climb stairs, remember what you ate yesterday, balance on one leg, laugh often, keep your friendships, cook for yourself. Sure, you might forget where you parked your car sometimes. But if you're still doing all of this, you're winning. You're absolutely winning. If you made it this far, leave a comment with your age. Let me know which of these 7 things you still have. And remember, the fact that you're here, watching, learning, reflecting on your life, that already sets you apart. You're not just surviving, you're living. And that's doing life right. And if you found this helpful, make sure you subscribe and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next video. We're here to give you the truth about your health, the information that could save your life or the life of someone you love. Take care of yourself, protect your brain, and we'll see you in the next one.